What is going on today, you beautiful, blessed boys and girls? Welcome to the channel. I'm really fired up about this video. I went through all my DMs. I compiled a list of the top 5 questions I get that most people get a lot wrong about fitness. And I wanted to go through and debunk some of these myths with you, give you guys some really quick tips to how to change your mindset on this, how to change some of the exercises you're doing to get the most bang for your buck. So it's going to be an all about fitness video. I'm about to turn 41 here coming up. Feel like I'm about the healthiest version I've ever been in my life. And so let's dive in together. Let's jump in and learn. Now, number one, and this is by far the biggest question I get, and I get this one from relatives, from friends, from people online all the time. Hey, Ty, can you give me an exercise to just make my arms look a little more toned? I got this flab on my arms and I want to make it more. Can you give me an exercise for that? Or usually it's, for me, if 10 years ago, I would have been like, can you give me an exercise to just get rid of my belly fat? What ab exercises do I need to do to get rid of my belly fat? We got to pause right here and say this is a fitness myth that we need to debunk. You absolutely cannot spot train and target fat loss. So it's important to note that fat loss will happen uniformly across the body as you're in a calorie deficit. But you can't just go to the gym every day and say, I'm going to train arms and then I'm just going to lose all my arm fat, but still have other things. It doesn't work like that. You can't choose where you're going to lose the fat on your body. I think all of us probably think, I know if I go on a little bender, man, everything goes to my stomach. I've heard a lot of women say, man, it just goes right to my thighs or my hips or whatever that is. Unfortunately, you can't just go train that specific area and then lose that. Now, of course, you can train arms and tone your arms and things like that. But again, fat loss happens specifically when you're in a calorie deficit every day. Doesn't matter the diet you have, doesn't matter a lot of this stuff. It's calorie deficit, CAICO, calories in versus calories out. Now, again, you can boost that by working out and burning a lot more calories, by winning with your fork and eating a lot less calories. But fat loss happens uniformly throughout the body, not just targeting certain areas. So that's fitness myth number one. Number two, and this is one of my all-time favorites, lifting weights make me too bulky. I hear this especially from a lot of women. I don't want to get too strong. I don't want to get too big. Speak to women first because this is definitely the biggest demographic that I almost feel like is afraid to lift weights. And I always say lifting weights is for everybody. Most women, you're not going to have the high enough testosterone levels to even build muscle. And look, I've been lifting for really hard for a long time and I'm not overly muscular. I'd love to have a little more muscle on me. It's really, really hard to put on muscle. And so, a lot of women, you're not going to have the testosterone levels to really even be able to do much more than tone up and shape up. And so you get a little stronger, which are all massive benefits. I think lifting weights is for everyone. Now, if you're afraid of lifting weights because you want to get too strong, I almost feel like that's like, man, I don't want to hop in my car and drive down the road because I'm afraid I'm going to become a NASCAR driver. I'm telling you, ask anybody who's been at the gym for decades. It is so hard to build muscle. The progressive overload you need day in, day out. You need to be eating in a calorie surplus, different than we talked about if you want to lose weight. There's so many things that go into that. So I hope that anybody watching this that's maybe been like, well, I don't want to lift weights. It's this or that. Man, there is no downside. Lifting weights is for everyone. If you've never started before, shoot me a message. I'll help you out or hire a coach or a trainer, someone that can point you in the right direction. But I'm yet to meet anyone who's like, oh man, I started lifting weights and I just got too big and too bulky and too strong and I hate it. It's undefeated in human history. So that's fitness myth number two, that lifting weights will make you too bulky or muscle bound. Again, you can choose the exercises, you can choose the programs you're doing. I personally like a much more lean look, so I train for that way, right? There's different programs and different things you can do, but lifting weights isn't going to make you extremely bulky, especially for you women out there. Don't be afraid of weights. The third fitness myth that I get all the time is, look, I just don't have time to train. I can't commit 7 days a week to this, or I can't be perfect with my diet, so I'm just not even going to do anything. And guys, I'm just a living testament of this. To be honest, we had 3 1-year-olds for a while. I was working a 45-hour-a-week corporate job with a commute. I also running a side business and creating a lot of things on the side. I was as busy could be during this season that I probably got in the best shape of my life. What a lot of my workouts looked like were I had my big lifts on Saturday and Sunday when I wasn't working at the bank and the corporate job. It was the only 2 days of the week I'd get to the gym. So I'd literally get to the gym 2 days a week. And then a lot of times it was waking up and in the morning, hitting like 10 or 15 minutes worth of some body weight stuff, some push-ups, some squats, some walking lunges, have a pull-up bar in the garage, just some things like that. During my lunch break at work, I would always walk or maybe jog, do some more push-ups, things like that for 30, 40 minutes on my lunch. A lot of times my kids would go to bed. I'd do another 10, 15 minutes of push-ups or whatever that would be. Maybe take a family walk when we all got home. Just try and move my body and keep going. One of my favorite sayings is perfection is the enemy of progress. And I feel like this stops more people than anything with health. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. I was stuck in that mindset very early on, and I used to yo-yo all the time. Well, I'm either going to eat perfect. Like I'd be disgusted by the person eating the cookie. How could you even eat that? Because I'd be on these, I'm going 7 days a week. I'm going to crush it. And then inevitably, of course, I would fall off, and then I'd be eating the cookies for breakfast and not going to the gym for months at a time and feeling awful. And if you can reframe that to just do the best you can do. Now, look, I always tell clients this and even tell myself a lot. I'm not trying to be a professional athlete. Most of us aren't. It's very vital for LeBron James or some of these elite level athletes, right? Man, I think it's rumored LeBron spends 2 million a year on his body. Yeah, that dude doesn't want to miss days, right? He's 39 years old, still competing at a high level against kids half his age now, right? He's not going to be able to have the luxury that you and I have. But look, end of the day, if I can't get to the gym, but instead I knock out a couple hundred push-ups or 100 push-ups and some walking lunges and take a family walk and hit 12,000, 15,000 steps and make sensible choices with food, that is winning. And so that's how you got to start to look at fitness. To be honest, find activities you love. Guys, you don't need to train 7 days a week. You don't have to have this perfect plan, this perfect diet. What you just need to do is do a little better today than you did the day before. Show up and do the absolute best you can. There have been many times in my life where the best I could possibly do that day was a quick walk in the morning and maybe 50, 100 push-ups, a walk on my lunch break, and a walk at night. I had 15, 18,000 steps. I ate sensibly and we kept the ball moving forward. If that's where you're at in a season in your life, then pat yourself on the back. Good job. Think of health and fitness as a long-term thing. It's awesome to have abs and it's awesome to look good and have people tell you, but what you really want, to be honest, I'll put a picture up here of my folks. They're 67, 68 years old. My mom just texted me the other day. She ran 10 and a half miles. They lift, they bike, they hike, they can strap their grandkids on them and hike up mountains. They're so active. And really, to me, that's the definition of health and what we should all strive for. And you get that by just showing up every day. You don't need to deadlift 600 pounds or have the perfect program. You just do the best you can do and keep showing up. So, fitness myth number 3 that we're debunking today is that you got to train 7 days a week. You got to go till failure every time. You got to do all XYZ. If you're trying to be a professional athlete, you definitely probably do. For the other 99.9% of us, you definitely don't. Show up, do your best, think long term with this. The number 4 fitness myth we're going to debunk right now, this no pain, no gain. Oh, I'm hobbling out of the gym. I had such a crazy leg day. Oh man, my chest, I blew it up and I can't even brush my teeth, right? You'll hear people say this stuff. That's fine, again, if you want to be a bodybuilder or you're wanting to do some of these other things. Guys, I'm going to be real open and honest with you. Again, I'm about to turn 41. I think anyone that would look at me would say, yeah, this guy's in shape. He's healthy, this or that. I literally have 150 pretty bad workouts every year. About 100 of them, I'm probably real locked in and fired up and just like clicking on all cylinders. And probably 150 of them, I'm like on my phone in between sets. I'm doing business stuff. I'm texting clients. I'm this or that. To me, the gym is as much for my mental health as physical health. And you don't need to go in there with this like crazy mindset of I'm going to absolutely destroy myself and wreck myself. In fact, I would say just the opposite. The best workout you can ever do is the one you're going to show up and do consistently, the one that you want to do again the next day. So I tell people often, hey, you know what? If you love dancing, that's your favorite form of movement, man, find a time during the day where you can dance for 50 minutes and make that part of your workout. If you love yoga, incorporate that into your workout. If you love lifting weights, then go lift weights, get a regiment for that. Running, whatever this thing is, you just need to move your body. That's the main thing. I'm currently finishing up a book right now that I'm writing, and I read the average American gets about 4,000 steps a day. We're talking less than 2 miles of movement. And I'm just telling you, the difference in your mental health when you start to get 10,000, 12,000 steps a day as opposed to 4,000 is absolutely insane. You'll feel better. You'll have more energy. Look, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. So when you're sitting on the couch, what are you more likely to keep doing sitting on the couch? I worked with a client not that long ago that the only change that we made for him was he loved watching football, NBA, poker vlogs, things like this. He would just sit for 3, 4 hours every night and do this. You got a walking treadmill. couple $100. And now when he watches TV, the rule is he's just walking. And guys, I ain't talking about he's sprinting or he's going uphill. He's literally just walking at a moderate pace and watching TV for a couple hours. This guy lost 40 pounds in 6, 8 months just tweaking that and one little thing with his diet. A lot of this stuff is not as complex as you think it is. Move your body. And again, I go back to that first point I talked about a while ago is Kaiko, calories in, calories out. That is your primary goal, is to lose weight. That should be your only focus. How many calories am I taking in every day? How many am I burning? And the cool thing is, if you just walk a couple extra hours, we'll just say an hour a day, you're probably looking at 400 extra calories right there. You do that 6 days a week. That's 2,400 calories. It's about 3,300-ish to burn some pounds. You tweak one little thing with your diet there, maybe instead of the cinnamon roll in the morning or the dessert coffee from Starbucks, you trim that thing down a couple hundred calories too. You're at a pound a week right there. That's 4 pounds a month. Replicate that over 4, 6 months, stay consistent, and you can be a whole new person with a whole new figure and feeling a lot better. So again, don't overcomplicate these things. Fitness myth number 4, no pain, no game. We're debunking that one. Number 5, this one pains me, and I know my wife is going to give me crap when she watches this video if she does. Stretching does not prevent injuries. Now, I need to pause here and clarify that. I'm talking about the static stretching. And if you don't know what static stretching is just what we did in gym class, probably in 5th grade. Touch your toes and hold it for a 10 count. And, put your arm across and hold it for a 10 count. Now, that kind of stretching, there's really no research or anything that shows that prevents injuries. Now, I'm always telling my wife to stretch or get warmed up because my wife is notorious for I'm going for a run and she's busy. She's got 3 kids. She's running businesses. She's doing all these things, right? So it's always, I'm going for a run. I'm taking off, and she'll go run 6, 8 miles. And I'm like, take a minute to warm yourself up, right? Now, what I mean by that is dynamic stretching. So static stretching is not going to prevent injuries. What will is dynamic stretching. Now, what is dynamic stretching? You think about a diver before they dive into the pool. What are they doing, man? They're moving their body. They're getting going. So on days I'm going to lift legs, say, I don't sit there and stretch and touch my toes and hold it. I'm doing some light body weight air squats. I'm actually doing some of the movements, mimicking them without weight. So dynamic stretching is what everybody should do. You think of an athlete, you think of, a guy, an NFL guy on the sidelines. He's not just sitting there or touching his toes before he goes in the game. Dude, he's jumping up and down. He's moving. He's getting himself hyped. This is what you should think of when you're starting to think about, how do I stretch before I train? So fitness myth number 5, static stretching will not prevent injuries. Dynamic stretching will. Now, I could get into a lot more of these, guys. I hear this all the time. Carbs are bad for you. You can't win if you're carbs. You have to be carnivore. No, you have to be vegetarian. I don't subscribe to any of that. I think all of our bodies are uniquely made and different. You have to find what works for you. I think that's the power in sometimes hiring a coach or people around that you can really have somebody with a high level view help you see a clear picture of you and creating the best you. So I hope this video was helpful, guys. The main takeaways for me are just stay consistent. Find areas that you love to move. Be sensible with the way you eat. I am very sorry you cannot target fat loss for certain body parts. And look, strength training and weightlifting isn't going to make you so bulky that you can't walk through the door frame if you start lifting weights for a few days a week, especially you ladies. So I hope this video has been great, guys. Thanks for tuning in. You guys go have the greatest day of your life. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Let's go change the world, baby. Have a great day.